So I'm sure most of you have seen the updates that are coming to the Battlefield 2042 build that is going to be pushed out at launch. A lot of issues that were in the beta, of course, are going to be fixed as predicted. However, there are a few things that I noticed that can cause a problem. And the biggest thing is there's not going to be voice over IP in the game at launch. For many of you, we know that you'll prefer to use voice over IP to keep the lines of communication open during gameplay. And a heads up that this is presently set to come in after launch. So my biggest question to that would be, well, how soon after launch is it? And what are we supposed to do about random squads in Hazard Zone? Not everybody has someone to play with for Hazard Zone. How are they going to balance this? They haven't touched on anything when it comes to Hazard Zone and what we're getting. We do know that it's a squad-focused game mode because they've been talking about that since the beginning, focusing on squad play and communicating with your squad and working together to get the data drives out. And that's all fun and dandy, but what if I want to play with some buddies on PlayStation 5 and I'm on PC? We don't have a party system. I'm not going to call them on the phone and talk to them. Normally, I would rely on the in-game chat or voice over IP function to do that. Well, it seems here that that's not going to be available. So how is this supposed to work with Hazard Zone specifically? You know, the all-out warfare, that too is an issue. I mean, people don't necessarily want to only play Hazard Zone. They got other stuff they want to do. They want to play Portal. They want to play all-out warfare. They got game modes they want to play with their friends that might not be on the same platform as them. People who have Xboxes have friends on PlayStation and they have friends on PC. According to this, we're not going to be able to talk to each other. This is a big problem. We're going to see what's going to be coming out in the next few weeks. We only have 3 weeks to go, technically less than 3 weeks. It's going to be 2 weeks from Friday, this Friday, when the game releases. So this is one of the things that they said regarding consoles. Another improvement coming to consoles is the ability for you to engage with text chat for the first time. Now that we're cross-platform, we know how important it is to sustain accessible options for communication, and we've got you covered here, they say. As we've discussed recently in our commitments to healthy play in Battlefield 2042, we'll be arming you with all the tools you might need to help keep this function useful and usable on the battlefield, including the option to hide the feature outright if you'd rather not see it, or make use of it. We know that many of you prefer to use. I don't know if that's a typo or what, because that's weird. For many of you, we know that you prefer to use voice over IP to keep the lines of communication open during gameplay. And as a heads up, this is presently set to come in after launch. That's got to be the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Am I crazy? Listen, they know that crossplay is important. They know that people want to play crossplay with their friends, and yet they're keeping voice over IP out of the launch for some reason. I feel like if you're going to do crossplay with any platform, you should probably focus on getting voice over IP out pretty quick. I mean, immediately, really, at launch. So the two things you need to focus when it comes to crossplay is the squad system. You know, is it easy to invite and join squads flawlessly? And can you talk to each other? Those are the two things. Now, they're saying you're going to be able to text in the chat box if you're on console. Congratulations, welcome to the chat box. And they know that that's a great way to communicate, which it's not. It's not a great way to communicate, actually. It's pretty terrible. The best way to communicate is through voice. Now, I don't know if they haven't quite figured out how to do that yet. I highly doubt it. This is a team that knows what they're doing. They're not idiots. They're good at what they do. But for some reason, voice over IP has been left out of the conversation. They do say that it's set to come in after launch. So they didn't go into any further detail. But I mean, if I'm dropping into a game of Hazard Zone and I don't have my usual squad with me and I need to jump in with randoms, I'm not going to stand there in a gunfight and type in chat, oh, we need to go over this way. I'm just gonna try to use voice over IP. I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer, really, if you think about it. And I'm curious on what your thoughts are. This is just something I noticed. You know, they fixed a lot of issues when it comes to the beta, and I knew they would. I didn't have any doubt. But there seems to be kind of a, I don't know, man. That doesn't seem right to me. This isn't really a great start when it comes to Hazard Zone for me already. I mean, it's not even out yet, and we're not even going to be able to talk to each other. What's the point? There was a game that came out called Chivalry II, and let me tell you something. Great game. Love the game. Really fun. They really did a great job. It's a first-person slasher is what it's considered. The first one came out in like 2013, and it's really fun, and you can play with your friends, and they announced that this title, Chivalry II, is going to be cross-play. cross-platform. You get to play with your friends on PlayStation and Xbox, and it's going to be great. Well, that's what was seemingly advertised, but in reality, that's not what was advertised at all. See, when it launched, come to find out, you couldn't squad up with your friends at all, because they're in a different platform. And of course, a lot of the player base then said, well, yeah, you've advertised that you're cross-platform. Well, apparently, the reason they said you're cross-platform is because you'll get to play against people who are on a different platform, not that you'll be able to squad up with your friends. It was at that point that I realized, well, this is a terrible mistake. What's even the point of saying you're cross-platform if you're not even going to be cross-platform? Sure, you can play against somebody who's on an Xbox, but who cares? I got buddies who I want to play with. Can I not play with them? The answer was no. Therefore, I don't really play that game anymore. You know, I want to play something with my friends. And Chivalry 2 just missed it for me. Again, amazing game. Really like it. But they missed that key element, and they still haven't, as far as I know, still haven't put it back in. This isn't exactly the same situation. Battlefield 2042 is marketed to be cross-platform, and it is. You'll be able to squad up with your friends. You'll be able to play against other people on different platforms, things like that. It doesn't matter what you're playing on. You'll be able to squad up with your friends and play. But if you're on a different platform, you're not going to be able to talk to each other. Do you kind of see my point here? I mean, if I'm Battlefield, I'm trying to avoid any reason for someone not to play this game. And for some people, if they can't talk to their friends when they're playing a game, there's no point in playing that game, regardless of how fun it actually is. Now, is this going to harpoon the whole project? I don't think so. And maybe there'll be a workaround, or I don't know. The game isn't out yet. All I know is I can take what they say at face value. And what they say is there's no voice over IP at launch. So we'll see just how big of an issue it is. A lot of the bugs in the beta and stuff like that didn't bother me. I knew that they were going to get fixed and taken care of. Things were going to get tweaked. That's fine. But now that they're talking about the voice over IP thing, it's kind of got me worried a little bit. I'm not a big fan of that. We need full communication. We need people to be able to play with each other. Simple, easy process that is not a hassle. And this just kind of seems to be another obstacle in the road. But let me know what your thoughts are. What do you think? Are you even worried about this? Do you have your squad on the platform that you're going to be playing on? Are you worried about it? Are you not worried about it? Just let me know in the comments. So we're saying goodbye to Battlefield 1 this week. And as the weeks progress, we're going to move on to the next Battlefield game that we're going to say goodbye to, since we only have, well, less than 3 weeks. So this week it'll be Battlefield 1. Next week we're going to be hitting Battlefield 5. And then the final week we'll be saying goodbye to Battlefield 4, with Friday being the launch day of 2042 if you have the early access. So we had a good turnout last night, and I hope that you can come by the stream and say hi. Feel free to add me on Origin and we can play together. Just hit me up, let me know. Anyway, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. I just wanted to talk about this a little bit and see what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video.